Hi everyone, my name is Melissa and I'm a food writer. I've been writing about food and ag in Vermont for about 20 years and I have taught a class at City Market and now we're trying in the new world to do a little bit of a video class. So they asked me to do something that is what I call intervore. So I'm going to make a meal that has both components for those who eat meat and for those who do not eat meat. And it actually is based off of a recipe in a new little cookbook that I did that just came out called the Little Local Vermont Cookbook. And the recipe is actually cumin yogurt lamb kebabs. And it sort of references the wave of immigrants who came to work in the mills in Vermont from Syria, Lebanon, and Armenia, who ate a lot of lamb and yogurt, used things like cumin. And then we're also going to make, for the vegans among us, a version that will be grilled eggplant and mushrooms that will replace the lamb. So this recipe has three main components. So the first part is what you're grilling. So we've got the lamb for the meat eaters, and we're going to do eggplant and mushrooms for the non-meat eaters. We're going to make a yogurt sauce, which will double as the marinade for the lamb and also a sauce to put on the final kebabs. And that will have a little cumin, garlic, lemon juice. We're not going to use that as a marinade for the eggplant. We're going to use a little bit of different spices and some olive oil and lemon juice, but we will make a plant-based yogurt version for the folks who are having just the vegetables. And then we have one of my favorite recipes that was inspired by our longtime CSA, the Interrail Community Farm, from which you can, in normal years, pick a lot of green herbs. And often you bring those home thinking you're gonna do amazing things with them, and then you completely forget and they turn into green smush in the back of the fridge, which is so sad. So I kind of developed this recipe. It's a little bit like a chimichurri. Basically, we're gonna take this, I happen to have basil, cilantro, and flat leaf parsley, lemon juice, garlic, capers, which are like the secret ingredient here that is very important, olive oil, and just blend that all into this amazing green sauce that you can serve on anything, including either lamb or the vegetable grilled kebabs. Okay, so I'm just finishing mincing the garlic. We've got 3 cloves of garlic here, and that is all going into a cup and a half of yogurt, beautiful whole milk, plain yogurt from Butterworks Farm in Westfield. And then we're going to add this, remember, is both the sauce and the marinade for the lamb. So we've got all that good garlic. Then we've got a full tablespoon of fresh cumin seed all ground up, and a couple teaspoons of coarse salt, and I squeezed some lemon. And so we're gonna put, I think it's a couple teaspoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice in there. And then we're gonna whisk that all about. And one of the things I love about this recipe is that the marinade also doubles as the sauce that you're gonna drizzle later. And as I said, I'm not gonna make it on camera, but we're gonna do exactly the same thing with this plant-based plain yogurt with the garlic and the lemon juice and the cumin and the salt for those who are vegan. So we're done with that. And now what we do is we pull off, remember we have a cup and a half here, so we're gonna pull off a full cup into my little sauce bowl that will go on the table. It's gonna be all ready. So just pull that off about, a little bit more. Pull off about a cup. It's not like critical, just don't want to waste any. And I will cover that and put that in the fridge. And that now has not touched the raw meat, of course, because you would never want to use a marinade that has touched meat as your dipping sauce unless you have the ability to boil it and get rid of any bacteria that you don't want. So I just blotted the lamb. This is top round. You can use shoulder, you can use leg. And then we're just gonna stir that up. And this will go in the fridge also to marinate for ideally at least an hour and up to overnight. That should be delicious. And I'll meet you back here for the next step in a moment. So now we're going to marinate the eggplant. So I took about a 1 pound-ish eggplant and cut it into sort of generous 1-inch cubes. You can leave the skin on if that doesn't bother you, or take it off. And then here we're going to combine smoked paprika, garlic powder, and cumin. The smoked paprika is sort of one of my secrets for making vegan or vegetarian food have a little bit more umami to it. It's just really wonderful. And I'm using garlic powder rather than actual garlic so that it doesn't get burned on the grill, which it might do because it might get sort of stuck on the eggplant. Won't work that way on the lamb. Don't really know why, but it works fine on the lamb. So we're gonna start with a couple tablespoons of olive oil. I love using squeeze bottles in case that is not obvious, just a really easy way to pour stuff out. And then we're gonna do a teaspoon of lemon juice from the freshly squeezed that I did before. And then we are going to put in all of those nice, oh, did I mention the salt? There's also some salt in there. The recipe will be posted so you can see. Just whisk that all together a little bit. And then, doesn't need to be that whisked together because then you're gonna put the eggplant in like this. Needless to say, I've washed my hands and kind of put the lid on and shake it all about. And then that will be set aside to marinate like the lamb is. Okay, so now we're making the green sauce. So I've already put 1 packed cup of the basil and some of the flat leaf parsley in there. And I'm just gonna cut up a bit of the cilantro. I happen to love cilantro in this. I am one of those people who used to hate cilantro. It tasted like soap to me, but I've come around, especially in this sauce. I think it's awesome. So you're just rough cutting it. And when I say packed cup, I really mean it. And you can, you know, I mean, this is all kind of rough. You could probably do 3 cups and it would be fine. And you're just going to taste it and make sure you have a good balance of salt and acidity and all of that. So I'm adding the rest of that flat leaf parsley. Maybe I want a little bit more of that. And then that all goes in here. And now we are going to add I just coarsely chopped 3 cloves of garlic because this is a super awesome food processor, and we'll deal with that. If your food processor is not so awesome, you might need to mince it a little bit more. And then we are putting in a tablespoon of fresh lemon juice right there. And we are putting in our magical capers that I mentioned, a tablespoon of capers that are rinsed and drained. And I think it's a 1/2 teaspoon, no, a 1/4 teaspoon salt, because the capers are pretty salty. You can always add salt later. And then we are going to turn this on, which will be loud. So block your ears for a second. And I'm just gonna scrape down the sides, but you can see that. You could do this in a blender too. You could also do it in a mortar and pestle if you wanna go old school. And I'm gonna give that a little more of a buzz, but pretty much we're ready and turning it on. And then I'm gonna do this slowly through. You can see it's starting to emulsify, and we're just gonna scrape it all down. You could see you could do a lot more than this, which frankly you might as well do if you have the herbs. Just quadruple it or double it, whatever your ability is to fit in your food processor. Okay, let's give it a little taste and see how it is and adjust. That's pretty good. I always want a little more salt. I mean, not always, but often, and a little more acidity. That's just my thing. But you can decide. Depends on kind of what herbs you used and how much garlic. And that is our green sauce. Okay, so I have my helpful assistant, who is now behind the camera, do the skewers of the eggplant, and we're gonna throw some red onion on there too. And I brushed these 2 portobello mushroom caps with a little bit of olive oil, some of the cumin, garlic powder, and the smoked paprika that I talked about before that we marinated the eggplant in. And then we're just gonna put those on the grill as they are. I did also have some white mushrooms, and we could have skewered those too, but I thought we'd just make it a little easy on ourselves and just do these, and then we'll slice them. And then I'm gonna put these over here, and I'm going to skewer some of the lamb just to show you how that works. So if you haven't used wooden skewers, one of the tips that everyone always says is get them wet before you put them on the grill, just so they don't burn, which is a good tip. And then we're just gonna, well, we shouldn't be holding 2. I don't know why I grabbed 2. We're just gonna take the lamb out of the yogurt marinade and skewer those on there. You don't wanna make them too tight because you wanna give them room to breathe. They'll cook more evenly. And I'm just gonna finish up one of these, and then I will do the rest off camera so you don't have to watch me do these all. And I will keep the marinade, and when we get out to grill, I'll show you how we can brush a little bit more on there before they're cooked. Okay, so we're gonna head out to the grill. It is raining a little bit, so we may have to dodge some raindrops, but we got the lamb skewered here. This is actually a little less than is in the recipe. I call for 1.5 pounds, and this is just about 1 pound because we've got so many veggies for our intervore version. It's my twist on interfaith. My family happens to be interfaith. I was raised Jewish. My husband is kind of Christian. And so interfaith family. And so I coined the term intervore because that is for folks whose households might be both meat eating and vegetable eating, hence intervore. Okay, so we're gonna grill. Put the mushroom caps on. Put those in the back. And then I'm gonna put the eggplant. I think these are actually gonna take longer than the lamb, so I'm gonna put them all on to start. And then I haven't brushed the onions with anything, so I have a little bit left over of the spice mix that I had on the mushrooms, so I'm just going to give them a little bit of a go. Flip them over. So beautiful. Those will actually probably take the longest, but we can just pull everything else off, so it's not going to be a problem. Okay. Put those on. And then we'll put the lamb on in a few minutes. Gonna close that down and give that a little bit of time to get going. Okay, so we've flipped the eggplant and the onions and the portobello mushroom caps, and I'm just finishing with a little bit of the olive oil spice mixture, just brushing it over these guys. And I think I am about ready to put on the lamb, which I'm going to keep away from the veggie, but I think we're good because I will keep the vegans that will be here, and so if the lamb touches, it will touch the ones that are not necessarily needing to be vegan. Put those right on there. And obviously everyone knows this, it goes without saying, you can re-put the vegetables on the tray that you brought them out on. You cannot re-put the meat on the tray that you brought it out on, because that has uncooked meat juices in it. So I'm going to go wash that, and I'm going to leave this yogurt here, and I will baste once with that, but then again have to make absolutely sure that it's cooked completely through and not baste again. The other yogurt that I have away, you may recall from earlier, didn't ever have raw meat in it. All right, so we're ready to serve. We've got the vegan version right here with the grilled portobello mushroom cap, the green sauce, the marinated grilled eggplant, and the vegan cumin lemon garlic sauce. And then here's the one with the lamb, and I'm going to put some of the red onion on it with my clean fingers. And then I will sauce that a little bit with the dairy yogurt cumin sauce. And yum. You can never have too much of that. And remember, that's cool. We had the actual marinade was the same thing. And then some of the magical green sauce that I mentioned before also goes on here. And there you have it. Vegan version, non-vegan version. Both delicious.